So let me just say, given that you guys are going to ask about Iran, let me just say a few things, actually. So, number one, I think it's very important for the American media to be honest with the American people on this particular issue, because it affects not just, you know, the normal issues of public policy. It actually affects peace and war. And here's what I mean. So in the past couple of days, I've seen a lot of reporting from the American media about the 10-point proposal that the Iranians have made. Now, as I know, because I've been involved in this, there are 3 different 10-point proposals, at least, that I've seen floating around. The first 10-point proposal was something that was submitted, and we think, frankly, was probably written by ChatGPT, that was submitted to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. That immediately went in the garbage and was rejected. There was a second 10-point proposal that was much more reasonable, that was based on some back and forth between us, between the Pakistanis and that is the 10-point proposal that the president was referencing in his truth yesterday. And then, frankly, I've seen a third 10-point proposal that's even more maximalist than the first 10-point proposal that's been floating around various social media channels. Now, here's what's interesting about all this, is that I've seen various organs, the New York Times, CNN, others, pick up and run the original 10-point proposal based on little more than a random Yahoo in Iran submitting it to public access television in the country of Iran, and then them saying that somehow represents the negotiating position of the government. It's the equivalent of somebody in, let's say, a Democratic councilman in Boise, Idaho, saying something crazy, the local public access TV picking up that crazy statement, and then the New York Times running that as the position of the President of the United States. It doesn't make an ounce of sense. What's happening on the ground in Iran is that you have clearly the position of the government, which is to negotiate with the United States of America. You have the position of the President of the United States, which is to send the negotiators to Pakistan and engage in this good faith negotiation. And then, yes, you have some crazy people at the fringes of the Iranian who are leaking anonymously, either for propaganda purposes or because they're embarrassed or because they don't like what happened. And the final point, when I say they don't like what happened, what we know is that the United States accomplished its military objectives. What we know is the United States could have imposed significant additional military and economic costs on Iran and still has the capacity to do so. But we thankfully, at this point, I think, have a ceasefire, thanks to the leadership of the President of the United States. The Iranians promising to open the Straits of Hormuz, and we have a negotiation that's supposed to start this weekend. That's the truth. I think it's a good first step. We're going to see if we can make more progress here in the days to come.
All right, folks, we are unpacking it all for you tonight. We're going to unpack what's really going on in Iran. We're going to unpack what's going on in New York City with Mamdani. Folks, people are pissed. We're unpacking what's going on in the fraud in California. We got a lot to get to. And here in Maryland, major news out here in Maryland where people are upset with the Democrat governor. We're unpacking it all tonight. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all as you watch this broadcast. It's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, y'all.
And Shelly E.
Hi, everybody. Let's go.
All right, folks. So before we light this fire, do your part. Tap that thumbs up, folks. Hit that like button. That helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and we appreciate the support. We're live here on YouTube. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. That's the best way to get your voice in the conversation. It's also a great way to support the channel, folks. We don't have sponsors. We don't have advertisers. You guys are what fuel us, what keep us online. And that's the way we like it. So, folks, your super chats go a long way in helping us push this content out. All right. And folks, it's the best way to show your love for the podcast, this podcast that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. Okay. It's not just a podcast. Honestly, it's a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. You saw at the top of the show, that was JD Vance, fresh at the airport in Hungary. And he's basically talking about what's going on. Just want to give a quick background. Talking about this ceasefire announced last night, President Trump agreed to a 2-week ceasefire with Iran hours before his self-imposed deadline to unleash devastating strikes on the country. All right. Key condition was Iran must allow the immediate and complete and safe reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Okay. So of course, we know it's a critical checkpoint. 20% of global oil runs through this along with the supplies. Mm-hmm. Okay. This was all good. We thought everything was cool. Negotiations are set to actually kick off on Friday in Islamabad, Pakistan. Pakistan was the one that actually negotiated this whole thing. Right. All right. As you heard JD Vance mention, there's a focus on a 10-point proposal. Now, there were several proposals pushed out, but as JD Vance mentioned, there was one the real one that President Trump spoke about in his Truth Social post. Income today, we saw Israel is bombing in Lebanon, in Hezbollah in Lebanon. And then we saw reports that the ceasefire was over, that Iran was saying this was pushed back against the ceasefire. Well, JD Vance and the Trump administration have come out and said that the Lebanon is a separate skirmish. It had nothing to do with their agreement. Okay, it is not part of this 2-week U.S.-Iran ceasefire deal. This is where we are now. Nicole, your thoughts on this first, Lee?
It's going to be a tenuous piece. You know, they're going to be 2 steps forward, 1 step back, maybe 2 or 3 steps to the left, to the right. It's going to look like a Cupid shuffle by the time they get to where they need to be. But honestly, this is really what we want. We want to bring all the people to the table. We want to see what they want. They're not going to get any of the things they're asking for. They're not getting any of that. There'll never be an opportunity for them to enrich uranium as long as the United States is on this planet. We're just not going to have it. Or that all of the bombs that the 10% of our stockpile that we use to bomb them into submission was wasted. So there are certain things that they want that are never going to happen. And at this point, Israel, like I said before, is just getting their lick back on everybody in the region since October 7. It has been, Hezbollah has been up Israel's butt for years. The Houthis got a little smoke coming too, if truth be told. But all of this has nothing to do with the peace brokered between the United States and Iran. And I think that was a clear distinction that they made. There's going to be a lot of trouble in this region for a time to come, but it doesn't necessarily mean that trouble is coming from the United States.
All right. All right. Shelley, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, number one, I agree with Nicole. It's going to be up and down, back and forth, and all over the map, kind of like Trump's tweets. Okay, so this is probably why there is so much confusion going on. So, nevertheless, I also think that from the Wall Street Journal is also reporting parts, or at least the 10-point plan, which really wants some really, I don't know what's the word, maximalist things, if you will. However, the part where I disagree is that in a 10-point, whether it's 10 point, 15 points, to come to the table, everybody that comes to the table has to have at base, they has to have an expectation that they're going to get something. Okay, because again, it can't be all or nothing. That's not a negotiation. That's not an agreement, if you will, all or nothing. And so that's where we are. Another thing is that we need clarity. We need clarity. I'm not saying that spill out the whole plan, the whole quote unquote war plan. But one of the things we need to clarify is where our goals align with Israel's and where they don't. I think that will be very helpful for the American people, particularly at this time, in light of midterms, domestic policy, certainly foreign policy. We need to clarify where we align and where we don't, where maybe Israel has its own interest and where the American interest, kind of like a Y, that branch we align, and then we might have a split on some parts. We need to clarify that. I think the American people deserve that.
I agree. America has to have an off-ramp, right? So Bibi's war is going to continue on, and he's got all of his own reasons for war. And again, one of the things I think that people don't quite understand is Israel is its own sovereign nation, and they've been under attack for a while. After October 7th, the little bit of war that they waged was very restrained because of the diplomatic force the United States and the rest of the world brought. Said, okay, You can get a little bit of lick back, but we're not going to go crazy. This is their opportunity to clear the slate. And do you blame them? Imagine how we felt after 9/11.
Right.
Who was going to tell America they couldn't get their lick back the way they wanted to? So they have the same right that we do to protect and defend themselves. What Shelley is saying, and I agree with wholeheartedly, Bibi's war is not America's war. It's simply not. Once our mission is complete, we need to move on. Israel can protect herself.
But do you believe that the Trump administration could do a better job at discerning or distinguishing between Bibi's goals in America?
I think what is happening is that the American people are so very used to knowing every damn thing 10 seconds after it happens. Waiting is not your strong suit. It really isn't. So where there is a gap in information, people are filling it in with their own things. The problem with that is it's 100% wrong. You can't ask Brock what the Trump administration is doing. You can't say, hey, Claude, can you figure it out for me? Claude don't know either. Whatever this administration's goals are, when the mission has been accomplished, Pete Hegseth is going to take to a microphone and say mission accomplished, right? Donald Trump is going to be up midnight tweeting, talking about F them bums, we got them, whatever it's going to be. But from the way that things are starting to ratchet down for the United States and things are ratcheting up for Israel, you can clearly see that divide. Where we're getting off the off-ramp and Bibi is just really getting started. Because if Iran is brought to heel, when Iran is brought to heel, is from Israel's standpoint, they still have the Houthis to deal with. They still have Hezbollah to deal with. They have a lot of other enemies who are still coming after them. So their war is going to be much longer than the 2-3 months that America's in.
Exactly.
Once we can be assured that they don't have any nuclear capabilities, they don't have any missiles that can reach the United States, and whatever else the president has on his wish list, then we need to let go.
So one thing that we've seen all over the media, right and left, has been people have been upset with the way that President Trump has been responding on social media, and not just on social media, in interviews, talking about how he is going to react to Iran.
Yes.
Okay. Now, personally, I have been one that since we started this show has said this was President Trump. We know this is how he has been. He has always been like this. This is why I don't understand why people are surprised. Right. He's used inflammatory rhetoric as leverage with President Xi Jinping when he said he bombed Beijing if China moved on Taiwan. I mean, the list goes on. This is his playbook. Okay. He has a huge bark. All right. We know this. And basically, it's been said you take him seriously, but not literally. Okay. But how do you think this is playing out, Nicole, in the negotiations? And not only that, but in the eyes of the American people.
So he's not talking to you. Let's do that. So again, back to the American people staying in their damn lane. It's not what we do well. We don't do that well. But when he's online talking absolute shit, I mean, I'm going to bomb you back into your caves. He's not talking to you. He's sending a direct message to people that he could not otherwise reach, right? So what has happened in Iran, from all accounts, is that they don't have any communications, right? They're getting a little bit of a message from Pakistan, a little bit of thing from China, a little bit of information from that person. So what he wants them to know is that what we've done to you thus far is just the appetizer. You haven't even got to the meat and potatoes. Keep playing with us. You better bring your ass to the table. And if you continue to delay, we're going to bomb you into submission. And China, you want to get froggy? You can catch that L too. You can get these hands. We're not afraid of you. And he's not talking to the American people. He's really not. He's talking to people who are bullies. Remember, these are people who have terrorized the entire world for more than 40 years. You can't call him up and say, excuse me, would you please stop, killing people here? Have a couple $1 billion on the pallet. No. You can't talk to bullies like that. Sometimes you got to pull a ponytail, take your earrings out and throw them hands. And that's where he is with them. And people have feel so, some kind of way about his language, but understand he's a lame duck president. What are they going to do with him? I mean, at this point, who's going to check me? But
okay, I agree with you. As frustrating as it is for Trump, like I say, his tweets can be all over the map. It can cause you heart palpitations if you think about it, right? However, one of the things that keeps me a little bit more grounded, or kind of like, slaps you back into reality, President Trump will tweet, bombastic, whatever, but he's always in between that. always open to come to the table.
Absolutely.
Come on, we see it. We'll renegotiate. We'll extend the time, or I'll change the the deadlines, things like that. We see it, which drives people crazy. I get it. Oh, the one thing that's concerning with me, particularly right now, is that this is a midterm year. Back here in American soil, we have a midterm coming up, and it's not doing well. At least if you look at most of the polls, it's not doing well, particularly for the likely voters who vote in the midterms, not just Republicans, not just MAGA part of Republicans, but we need more people. So this is the only part. It's like, oh my gosh. However, I do know that President Trump is come to the table, man. Let's negotiate. Let's find out what we can do, what we can't do. He does do that in spite of his tweets all over the map.
Shelley, I agree with you. And I think that's why we're going on that off ramp very quickly, because we can't have this within 90 days of that midterm.
Right.
Because the American public, say what you will, our memory is very short. By the time November rolls around, people are gonna be like, what war? Who? They're not going to remember, because as much as we keep our foot on the pedal and we're turning back things, remember, we've got some tremendous things that are about to happen. That birthright citizenship ruling is going to come around July 4th, the first couple of weeks of July. No matter what else is going on in the world, that ruling is going to really set the pace for politics throughout the entire summer. It really is. So we've got some tremendous things headed our way. And the last thing we need is to be helping BB fight his war. BB is 100% capable of handling this business. He could have handled it back in October if the world had not gotten his way, but it is what it is. The United States is taking an off ramp. I am vehemently opposed to boots on the ground. I am vehemently opposed to nation building. We don't do that well. History has taught us we don't do that well. And we got problems at home we need to take care of. Let's wrap this up, fellas, pack up our toys and let BB do his business.
Yeah. Folks, sound off in the chat. Let us know what you think. How are you guys feeling about this ceasefire? We have some super chats.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm laughing. Momo, I gotta shout out. Momo is hilarious, you guys. Momo is hilarious.
Cracks us up.
But we have some.
I didn't see what he said.
He said he can see by the extra shiny look of these ladies' lips. They are. They got the case of chapstick.
Oh my gosh.
So we do have some super chatters here. Thank you. I am Ashaby. Thank you for your $5 super chat. You ladies are the best. Thank you, Ashaby. Right back at you.
Thank you.
Tia, hope you're doing well. Thank you for your $20 super chat. Good evening, ladies. Nicole. Classy, brilliant, and no nonsense, ladies. Thank you, Tijuana. Hope you're doing well.
We missed you. So glad you're back.
Melanie, thank you for your $20 super chat. Love your show and your perspectives, faithful watchers. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right, everybody, hit that like, share, and subscribe out there. We have a number of people on, and some of you have not done so. Make sure you go ahead and hit it right now. Press that button, and don't forget, press that notification bell so you will be reminded when we are coming on live.
Absolutely. Yes. And also, folks, as you're watching, hit that share button. It's a great way while we're on the live, you want to get your friends involved, want to get the family involved, hit that share button, share it on your social media in a text message and an email. Absolutely. And everybody can jump on and we can get right into it right here on the chat. So definitely hit that share button. All right. Moving right along, speaking of elections, we did have an election, a huge one last night, I believe, in Georgia. Mm-hmm. Yes, Georgia's 14th congressional district elected Trump-endorsed Republican Clay Fuller. Mm-hmm. He is to replace Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene, or as President Trump says, Marjorie Trader Greene. Take a look. This is clip 7.
Republican Clay Fuller winning the special election to fill the House seat vacated by former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Fuller defeating Democrat Sean Harris by double digits, helping Republicans cling to their razor-thin House majority. At his victory party, the congressman-elect made it clear President Trump's endorsement put him over the top, saying, quote, "He made all the difference in the world. It was an honor of my lifetime to be able to get his endorsement. He was the key factor in us winning."
All right. Thank God. Thank God.
First of all, the Democrats was talking so much trash. And even today, they were like, MAGA is furious. Trump is fuming. And from the headlines, you would have thought that we lost.
Right.
Well, they cut it in half. Listen, you take that L.
Exactly.
Go ahead and have that L. It's all for you. You were not going to win that seat. This is Newt Gingrich's old district. Give me a break. There wasn't a snowball's chance in hell. Well, he had a good showing. Yeah, he had a good showing.
That's what I wanted to talk about. They lost. They totally lost. But he didn't win as large a margin that they have won in the past.
Yeah, but
what do you think?
Here's the thing. If I win by one vote,
I won.
Right.
That makes you the loser. Yeah. That's what that does. That's how politics works. People ask me all the time, how do I win my election? How do I win my election? People asked me that last night. And I say, listen, you get more votes than the other guy. Yeah. And it only has to be one vote. It doesn't matter the margin. You don't get any more, things in Congress because you have a bigger margin. You win the seat and you represent everybody in that community, especially the people who voted for it.
I agree. So Shelley, that is true. Mm-hmm. But how do you think this or does this play in what we are set to see in the midterms? Do you think this is a bellwether?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like you say, it's a traditionally Republican district. Yeah. I didn't expect him not to win. So maybe I wasn't surprised at all. However, every election, at least for me, for this year right now, every election that's coming up is causing me okay, it's like you don't know which way. So I do think some of it, to some degree, may be representative of just the stress that Americans are feeling to some degree.
Right. Yeah. Well, we will see. I continue to pray that, we put the right people in office and that we go hard during these midterms, because one thing that a lot of Americans, or I would say the American people they care deeply about is this country and the illegal immigration that we saw underneath Biden.
Absolutely.
And speaking of that takes us to Marco Rubio. Folks, they are not playing around. So
Marco don't have it to do.
No.
Like, who are you talking to?
Absolutely.
I'm on this with you.
And so he has come out, the Trump administration is now revoking the visas of 3,000 to 4,000 Iranian elites in the U.S.
I just feel like he shouldn't stop at the Iranians. I feel like, there are some nations that I would love to see removed.
Right.
All of their elite people and even their not so elite people. That Somalian guy who in Maine, I think it is, $1 million house. He moved from a 60-year-old single wide trailer into a $1 million home with stolen Medicaid money that was quote unquote overpaid to him.
Right. We're going to get to the fraud, but take a look at this. This is clip 8.
Iran who get lashed, beaten, thrown acid in their faces, even killed for showing their hair. And then you've got relatives of Iran's power players here in the U.S. acting like the Kardashians. Yesterday, we told you about the niece and great-niece of slain General Qasem Soleimani flaunting their lavish life here on U.S. soil. Their visas are now getting revoked. Now we're learning about other relatives of other top Iranian leaders teaching American students here in our homeland. The New York Post reports that Isa Hashemi, Isa as in Jesus, the Arabic for Jesus, is the son of Iranian insider Masumeh Ebtekar, and he's living in LA, allegedly teaching there. His mom, known as Screaming Mary, was a spokeswoman for the U.S. Embassy hostage crisis. We all remember that. Fox has reached out twice to him, but got no response, despite Isa's name still being on the website for the Chicago school. It's where he teaches. Meanwhile, Layla Khatami, the daughter of a former Iranian president, is a professor at Union College. And another Iranian leader's daughter was an assistant professor at Emory until that school terminated her. Katie Miller says that the president and the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, are now looking to revoke visas for 3,000 to 4,000 Iranian elites in the U.S.
It's the hypocrisy of the regime. Their children and offsprings are flaunting their sometimes luxurious lives and a life against a comfortable, free society with economic opportunities, all the while that in Iran, people are deprived of all of that.
And remember, Sandra, this isn't because they're just related to the Iranian leaders. Thousands of Iranians are here on asylum. It's not asylum, though, if you're going back and forth from U.S. and Iran without any fear from the regime.
Wow.
Sandra?
Aisha Hasni reporting live out of Washington for us. Thank you.
So I understand what she said, that these are, it's not just that they are connected to the Iranian regime. So what is it? What's the lawful reason why they don't have asylum? I get that, but why is it? Just because they are connected to the RGC?
No, because they came on asylum.
Yeah.
So you can't say that you're afraid to live in your own home country because you'll be murdered, beaten, raped, set afire, hung from a crane, you know, all the things that Iranians like to do to their populace. But you travel back and forth on the regular basis.
Right.
So this is the problem that we have with many, many people who come here on these visas and overstay, or they get here and they claim asylum, but they go back and forth. And what you will usually hear from people who defend that position is that, oh, my mom died, so I went home because my mother died. Well, how many times is your mom going to die? Because you've been 4 or 5 times. But we're so overrun. Our system is so overrun that people who check that have 1,000,001 other things to do. So largely it goes, you know, unnoticed until somebody shines a light on it. Well, somebody, you know, said, listen here, Marco, this thing is happening. And he's 100% well within his right to revoke their visas, to send them back, to absolutely send them back. I think the mother and daughter had green cards.
Yeah. I don't understand how they got here anyway, Shelly. I mean,
they
connected to the IG.
Well, they come because of their status.
Absolutely.
They do get all the different levels of asylum and you know, visas or whatever. They come, they may overstay. And then they just partake of all of the largesses here, not including their own that they bring with them.
Exactly.
Okay. Again, it's not just Iranians. Let me say this about people in the Middle East. A lot of these dignitaries, elites, power leaders, if you will, in the Middle East, don't buy this BS that they're so holy and pious. Those jokers will drink, they will smoke, okay? They will do any kind of other profane things that they claimed not to do, and that they will crucify literally their own population for doing, okay? That's BS, number one. Number two, I'm sick of our laws. We are so reactive, and the bureaucracy is so big, okay? For you and all of us to get a passport, we got to damn near sell our soul, if you will, right? But these people can come here easily, seamlessly, go back and forth, and still claim, you know, fear of XYZ, fear of death, fear of all torture and all this stuff. It's bull crap. I'm sick of it, okay? This is not even just about money, but I do want my money back.
Yep.
It's not even just about that. It's about the big government. Our government focuses on things 9 times out of 10, in my never to be humble opinion, that do not benefit the American people. We are subsidizing this joker, this crap. We're subsidizing it. I'm sick of it. Send them home. I don't care what family they belong to, okay? I don't care. Send them all home quick, fast, and in a fucking hurry.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I don't understand why this keeps happening. And again, I know you mentioned, Shelly, how we have such a large bureaucracy, so maybe some of these people are getting in, but the same thing can be said for Ilhan Omar. I mean, her family were dignitaries in Somalia at the time. They were the ones that were actually perpetuating these mass atrocities and things like this. But then she still was able to come here
on an asylum claim. Right. So you're afraid of your father, the butcher? Because that's what it was. Her father was prolific in killing people. Exactly. So she comes here because she's afraid of what? And has been back. That's the part that kills me. That is the part that kills me. If the TSA can tell you how many times I traveled from here to there, you know, how many flights I've taken in a year. Nobody's tracking how many times these people who are so afraid they can't live in their country.
And not only that, but if you have a security clearance, if you are someone that works in IT or something and you have the high level security clearance, you can't do anything without getting a phone call. Hey, where were you? Why were you here? So I just don't understand what's going on. I actually do. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more later. These people are paying people off.
Of course.
They're paying people off.
Of course.
Don't discount the money.
Listen, follow the money.
Yeah.
Follow the money. Because, you know, here's the thing. When you travel internationally and you know, customs picks on you, because it happens to me every international flight. I don't know why, but it does. Yeah. And you know, they're going through your stuff and asking you the questions. You mean to tell me a Somali person rolls up with a suitcase full of $20 bills and ain't nobody asking them nothing? Are you serious? Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
the level of
it's disdain for the American people. That's part of
the
yes,
audacity.
yes,
the audacity.
Yeah. Folks, sound off in the chat. Let us know what you think. I mean, this is something that has been happening. It happens over and over again with these asylum seekers. You know, there's a portion of these people that are, you know, claim asylum, but they're actually part of the problem in their countries and they're still able to get in. What is going on? Do you agree that these Iranian visas need to be revoked? Sound off in the chat and let us know what you think. Speaking of that, folks, you got to see our merch. We actually have a photo of one of our viewers who had, oh my God.
There we go. In the hat. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, you look so pretty.
You look amazing. You look amazing. I should take your picture down to the IRS and be like, haha. You know?
Yes.
Sunflower.
Yeah, that's Butterbean. That's Butterbean.
Oh, hi,
you know, we love us some Butterbean.
Yes, thank you. Oh, we were, man, this
Actually,
really
that looks good.
It does look nice with that sunflower and something.
Yeah, this is so nice to see people wearing the merch.
It makes us feel so good. So you guys, you want to support the channel, please consider getting some merchandise. It's a win-win. You get to look great, and it's a great way to support the show. Of course, April 15th is right around the corner. Give me my money back. Apparently, it looks great in blue, too.
Absolutely.
I'm not a blue girl. I say to sit here in a blue dress. I'm not a blue girl, but I may have to make it an adjustment on my neglect for blue.
Oh my God. Nicole is a patriot.
I don't like it.
You know why she doesn't like blue. She doesn't wear blue because it's different.
That's right. Them damn Democrats ruined blue for me a long, long time ago. Right? And the only reason why I wear blue in the show because KJ's like, you look good. And I'm like, I do not look
you look really pretty in blue.
It's like, I do not. But look at it in red.
Yeah.
Or red. Let's go.
Yeah, that does look good.
Let's go. But listen, this is a great way to support the channel. And with so many A250 events going on, this is a great way to put your politics on your chest, not be too confrontational unless you get the one that says these people are crazy, which I highly suggest if you're coming down in DC. But if you're coming to like the rededication that's going to happen on the National Mall where there's going to be prayer and worship and all that kind of thing, you could probably pull off Give Me My Money Back. That's right. You could probably pull that off. Yeah. Or unapologetically American.
Yes.
That would be appropriate for that. But this is a great way to help the channel and send us your picture because one, we love you guys. Let's just do that. And Butterbean, you are cute as a dickens. Let me tell you. Absolutely cute. So I don't know what the sizes are or anything like that, but I know that they have a ton of sizes and different cuts. You get a lady cut. You know, the lady cut is a little bit smaller at the top part. Yeah. And it kind of bells out at the bottom. So that's the ladies cut. It has space for boobs and whatnot, allegedly.
Right, yeah. All right,
everybody.
All right.
We have a couple more super chatters, I think. So let's see, who do we have in the chat here? Tijuana. He wanted $20 again. Really missed the show. I've been working 3 jobs and trying to find time to participate. He watches the highlights when he can. Thanks again to the ladies. We love you, Tijuana.
Yeah, we do. And listen, thank you for being industrious. We appreciate all your efforts. The one thing that I will say about you guys, when we don't see you for a couple of weeks, you guys don't notice, but we'll talk about where the heck is Tijuana border?
Right.
You know, and they're asking me, and I'm like, I don't know. I think he's working, you know. But when you guys are not here, we actually do miss you, and we wonder what happens. Yep. And so when you come back for us, it's like, hey, they're fine. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God.
Yes, indeed. It's not many of us, folks. You know, we all got to stick together. So we counting each one of you guys.
Absolutely.
All of us, God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people. So thank you guys for your support. Well, speaking of one of us, we got a treat for you guys tonight. Our man is back, folks, on here. He's going to be with us for this next segment. And you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the candidate for lieutenant governor here in Maryland. And we all know him as Soldiers of Finance. Tyrone Keys from Soldiers of Finance right here on YouTube is joining us tonight. Let me put my headset in. So we can hear.
Better call Tyrone.
Oh my God. All right, Tyrone, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are y'all doing?
We got headsets on.
Yes, please.
Oh my God, I hate these darn things.
All right, can you hear us all right?
Oh yeah, I hear you perfectly. How y'all doing?
Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay.
See, Tyrone has on appropriate headphones. We over here.
I know,
with
right?
these
Fundamentals.
I know.
With
You know,
earrings on.
headphones and all this leverage right here doesn't go with lipstick and makeup.
All right. Okay. So let's get right into it, folks. You all know him, Tyrone Keys of Soldiers of Finance, right here on YouTube. How are you tonight, Tyrone?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good. All right, we got to get right into this. So we want to talk to you about the latest news out today. Governor Wes Moore of Maryland has signed a $70.8 billion budget for 2027 that aims to close a $1.5 billion deficit without raising taxes or fees. Now, the plan includes $10.2 billion for public schools, $124 million for local law enforcement, and $100 million in utility relief. All right. Officials in the Moore administration say it's about making life more affordable, but some costs, like retirement benefits for educators, will shift to local governments. So they are saying this is a great thing. What are your thoughts?
Well, let me start by saying those retirement benefits for educators are not the only thing that's going to be shifting to local governments. They're going to get less of the proceeds from the gas tax as well. There are other retirement benefits for certain employees that the state shares with the municipalities that will be shifted more toward the local government. So when Wes Moore says there will be no tax increases, he has just performed a sleight of hand and shifted those increases to the local governments from where the state would traditionally, for example, give them proceeds from the gas tax. So it's just a sleight of hand. It's disingenuous, but disingenuous is what Democrats do.
Yeah, Shelley.
Oh, hi, Tyrone. Congratulations on your candidacy.
Hey.
So your campaign, I should say. I have a question. Okay. Where does all the money go that's collected in Maryland? Because number one, potholes, of course, this is in the local areas, but throughout Maryland, potholes, education is poor, crime is up, particularly juvenile crime. Where does all the money go? I don't understand. Maryland is like a super sucker. Remember those old super soakers?
Oh,
Maryland's
yeah.
like a super sucker. They just suck up the damn money from any and everybody. Well, where does it really?
Like an octopus.
Yeah.
Like an
Where does it
octopus
go?
with suctions on your face and around your neck and your head.
Okay, that's creepy.
Where does it go?
We just went to a
Explain it to us,
went to a
please.
place like.
Well, I have a theory, actually. One place that we know that some tax money is going. You take this paint tax, for example. 100% of the proceeds from that are going to a 501c3. I forget their name, Paint America or something like that. Someone has set up a 501c3 specifically to collect old paint. Okay. Now, they didn't do this. They didn't have some epiphany one night like Edison had with the light bulb. They said, you know what? We can get in on this 501c3 mafia thing and collude with state and local governments to get a lot of money from the taxpayers. The executives over at this 501c3, the CEO makes $1.3 million a year. Now, that doesn't sound like a non-profit to me. But if you look at the 501c3 structure, a lot of our taxpayer money is being funneled into those, especially now that USAID has been exposed and pretty much shut down. So I would tell people with regard to charities, I have rules where charities are concerned. And listen, I was on the board of the Maryland Salvation Army at one point. First of all, when you decide you want to give to charity, research and find out what percentage of your dollar actually goes to programs as opposed to executive compensation. Okay. I don't do things like when they say they had this thing at PetSmart. They said, "Do you want to contribute to a needy animal?" I'm like, "I'm here buying cat food.
I'm a needy animal. I'm a needy animal.
You are an animal.
So I'll
Bruh.
reject that because they aggregate your contributions, they take the tax deduction, and you have no idea what this charity is doing. Okay, so you got to be really judicious where this is concerned. But that's where a lot of our money is going.
Wow.
Nicole,
So I think we can all agree that this 3-card Monty that he's playing with the budget is not surprising. You know, if you've lived in this state long enough to survive Martin O'Malley, he's playing the typical Maryland Democrat game, a shell game. However, these counties also have the blueprint hanging over top of their head. So what happens when counties just can't do it? When there's just not any resources? When you think about counties that are not wealthy, we're not talking Montgomery and Prince George's, but let's think Worcester County on the Eastern Shore, Wacomico, Allegheny County up north. These smaller counties cannot afford it now.
Right.
They just can't. So what happens when they seemingly renege on the governor's promise? Because that's really what this is. The governor is writing a check that his ass can't cash. These counties are just not going to be able to afford it. So what happens then?
What you're going to see is a contraction of services. So somebody mentioned potholes, for example. You're going to see it less in terms of the maintenance of the county. You're going to see fewer police officers hired. I know a lot of the counties in Maryland leverage volunteer firefighters.
Absolutely.
Some have a mixture of career and volunteer. You're going to see a lot less in terms of that career component. The cities, well, the municipalities and the states have balanced budget amendments. Unlike the federal government, they shouldn't be, but they can print up money as they see fit. The states can't do that. But the states have increasingly been running deficits, Maryland in particular, California also. And I want to say something about the incoming years. If Wes Moore is reelected, I guarantee you're going to see an increase in the sales tax. You're going to see a mileage tax also. He will be unfettered. So it is.
Well, wait a minute, but he's saying in here that they're doing without raising taxes or fees.
That's this year.
This year. Because it's an election year. He's trying to get reelected.
I see. Okay.
But the brakes will be off next year if he were to be reelected. Now, the other thing you have to understand is they are forecasting a deficit for next year, a multi-billion-dollar deficit. But what they're not talking about is the $5 billion in juvenile justice claims that will also come due. So Democrats don't like to bring business into your cities and states. All they know how to do is increase taxes.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah. So
he talked about a lot of in one of the pressers I saw about diversifying Maryland's businesses so that we're not so dependent on federal workers, which is interesting because people can't afford to live here.
Right.
So how do you have a workforce? I guess we're all going to live in Pennsylvania and West Virginia and just drive in.
Talk about another McDonald's,
or Delaware and Virginia and drive in. I mean, at what point does this administration get very serious about bringing businesses that matter to Maryland? And it's crazy because I don't think that he doesn't really care about what's going to happen beyond this year because he'll already be on the presidential trail. People can survive or not survive, makes him no difference. He's already made all the rounds on the Sunday morning talkies to reassure people that he's not running for president, but probably for vice president.
Wes Moore, and someone just said it, Wes Moore believes that, 100 McDonald's jobs?
Right.
Okay, now look, I worked at McDonald's when I was in high school. Emphasis on when I was in high school. And I lived in my mother's basement as a high school student. Okay.
Absolutely.
McDonald's is a great place for young folk to work. Or if you want a management track or ownership track, fine. But the jobs that he touted bringing from, we're not talking corporate office McDonald's jobs, okay? That's not going to be the panacea for the Maryland economy. And also, the other thing he's going to do, speaking of McDonald's, is he's going to raise the minimum wage if he were to get reelected. Now, the Democrats and Westmore, they act like California is ancient Babylon, like they don't know about it. California just raised the minimum wage a couple of years ago, and it has been an acceleration in their exodus of businesses and tax-paying families. Okay,
Absolutely.
The same will happen here. Real quick, UMBC did that survey that showed that 33% of Marylanders say this state is prohibitively expensive. They want to move out. That would mean 2 million people leaving 4 million who, for whatever reason, are tied to the state by job or just don't have the resources to move. And then they would be subject to all of these taxes, fees, and a minimum wage increase as well.
Oh, well, folks, we got a lot to cover. We're going to still talk about this Maryland Senate Bill 334. But we have some super chatters here.
Oh, okay. Thanks. All right. Super chatters, where are you? Brown eyes. Hey, my blue eyes for brown eyes. Thank you for your $20. Congrats, Tyrone. I am so proud of you. Good to see you, brown eyes.
Yes. All right.
Who else? We have Josh is back. Thank you for $20, Josh. There's a reason PNP is closing in on 250K subscribers.
Yes.
Because there is no other channel that has the authenticity, the fire, the independent thought, and the love for its community that you ladies bring. It's remarkable. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you so much
for that. Thank you all. Don't forget, everybody, hit that like, share, and subscribe. We have Mr. Jeerly. Thank you for your $5 super chat. Big Island, Hawaii. Hey, Oahu there. Thank you, ladies, and good luck, Tyrone. And Tyrone, they have been asking for where's Tyrone is staying and where's Tyrone. So everybody hit that like, share, and subscribe and share this because Tyrone is back with us tonight for a little bit.
All right, folks. So Tyrone, before you leave, please let everybody know where they can find you or any events, anything you want to shout out to the audience.
Sure. They can, of course, we're still, as Soldiers of Finance is still active, but of course, I'm just the one. I don't have all of the resources of a pop in politics. Okay? So we're still active, but I'm all around the state, of course, running for office. So I have less time to do videos for now, but they can check us out on Facebook at the Hail for Gov Facebook page. And we're releasing a lot of information on there throughout the day about where we're going to be, what we're doing. So I encourage people to go there and follow that page, Hail, HALE for Gov on Facebook.
All right. Well, we will be back. We're happy to have you back on soon again, Tyrone. Thank you so much.
All right. Y'all have a good evening.
All right. So we're still talking about Maryland, but folks, what we are about to tell you is going to affect the country if Democrats start to take over, if they start to get into elected office. We're talking about this Maryland Senate Bill 334 that essentially bans guns. This is clip one.
Knows what's happening in Virginia is unbelievable. But if you go just a couple miles over the border, you'll see something that is potentially even crazier. As you probably know, Maryland does not have a very good track record on the Second Amendment. And what they're about to do is going to obliterate what they have left. SB 334 has now passed the Maryland Senate. And like I said, I cover Virginia, but something up the border or even something around the country affects us just as much. The reality is the playbook of the anti-gunners is universal, right? Not only in the United States, but everywhere around the world. And this is another symptom of that. What I'm showing you is a preview for what you can expect from Abigail Spanberger in 2027, or what you can expect even if you're in the state of Texas, right? This is what you can expect if you do not elect a Republican. This is the reality. This is what the gun grabbers are going to do. And unfortunately, that's just the truth. Before I get into it, please do consider subscribing. It makes a huge, huge difference. It's free. You can always unsubscribe at any time. And it really, really helps the channel. All right, let's get into it. So this is SB 334. And essentially, it just bans Glocks, right? And most pistols that you or I would have. They're calling it a machine gun ban, and it is one of the most unhinged things you will ever see. This fundamentally cracks down on most lawfully owned, lawfully possessed pistols. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This is absurd. Okay, so yeah, this is called SB 334, passed the Senate, and it's now out of the House Judiciary with favorable amendments. It's extremely likely to get passed. It is extremely likely to become a law. I'll keep you updated, but this is probably going to happen. I'm just warning you. Okay, so what does this do? This bans machine gun convertible pistols. So after January 1st, 2027, which is coming up, by the way, no person may manufacture, sell, purchase, receive, or transfer any pistol Maryland classifies as a machine gun convertible. Here's what this covers, and this is crazy. So this is any semi-automatic pistol with a cruciform trigger bar that can be readily converted using common household tools is banned. This is like how most pistols operate. And household tools, what do you mean? A screwdriver? Yeah. So what are we talking about here, right? I mean, I can convert my car into a killing machine by just pressing down the accelerator. I can convert it into a speeding machine by just pressing down the accelerator. This is ridiculous, right? Alcohol can make me a drunk driver. All of this stuff is obviously insane. It is using people that do criminal activity to justify taking rights from law-abiding Americans. Remember, that is always the goal of the anti-gunner. They know this doesn't affect criminals. Obviously, it doesn't. The point is, they say this is a machine gun convertible pistol. We're only banning the most terrifying, dangerous guns. And what do they ban? Ordinary Glocks, right? Everyday carry. Things that you and I would carry every day and not hurt anybody ever, right?
Folks, I checked this today. This actually would ban almost all of my handguns. Almost all of my handguns that I have, I would not be able to use if this bill passes. My household is furious. I haven't seen Miles Miss upset before. Shelly, what are your thoughts?
Okay, let me let you all know that no legal, rightful, legitimate gun owner is going to give up theirs. Okay,
Exactly.
Number one, that's not going to happen. Number two, Maryland has this handgun roster. They've been trying to go after Glock for a while.
Long time.
And this SB 334, it's really a continuation of SB 001 that I testified
That
on
part.
a few years ago, where that bitch man, Senator Jeff Waldstreicher, I hope I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but anyway, Senator Waldstreicher, I should say he takes it into the wall of his ass. That's what he does. But nevertheless, this is a continuation of the bills that he and other ilks like him have been putting forth. The goal ultimately is to ban every pistol or firearm, certainly handguns for Maryland. That's what they really want. However, this says no purchase, sale, transfer, whatever, which basically means that these guns are not going to be allowed to be sold, purchased inside of Maryland. Now,
So
right?
receive, transfer.
Right, in Maryland, right. So it's also going to make it difficult that if you were to go outside of Maryland and legally, I'm talking about legally buy a gun,
And bring
then the
it back.
manufacturers and the sellers are going to be hesitant, if not downright say, no, I can't do that because I'm going to lose my business. So not only is it going to affect individual firearm owners, it's going to affect businesses, okay? When we talk about Maryland businesses, it's going to affect businesses. But let me assure you, I have a Glock, okay? I know people who got several of them. They're not giving them up, okay? And they will still carry them proudly. Jeff Waldstreicher, I would say screw you, but he's already taken it in the ass, so I don't want to add to it. But nevertheless, don't worry. Yeah, they will pass it. Don't worry in a sense. It's not going to affect the legitimate owners.
Well, let me ask you. So I want to talk about this for people who may not be familiar with the guns. So, for instance, the Glock gun. So the reason why they're saying that this is that they're removing this is because they are saying that the Glock has a mechanism on it where you can change it to add. Talk about
First
that.
of all,
Why are
okay,
they saying?
first of all, the Glock is one of the most reliable, safe, convenient. It has easily exchangeable parts, which makes it good for resale. Or maybe something happens to your firearm, maybe you need to repair it or something. You can find parts that are economical as well. So it's cost effective. Law enforcement also tends to carry Glocks, different.
They're reliable and they fit well.
And they fit well, right? So that's one thing. They are readily available. Again, this is also about stopping the flow, period, of firearms. Okay, that's number one. Any gunsmith, a person who knows how to tink and trick out guns, you can take a trigger and make a machine gun automatic out of virtually any gun if you know what you're doing, right? So this is bull crap. Okay, again, this is a continuation of Senate Bill 001. Every session they add on something else, another. But again, they had this handgun roster group, whatever. I didn't know that. I just found this out last month, literally. There are people on the Maryland handgun roster board that are not Marylanders. They're from New York.
Exactly. Exactly. The biggest thing with this bill, aside from the absolute foolishness of it, is that it would give, once it's signed into law, Maryland State Police the right to put anything, any handgun they want on this list. So there is no checks and balances. They don't have to go through a legislative process. It takes something that is solely administrative and it makes it law automatically. So, we talk about the Glock. If they say, well, you know what? I don't like any handgun. Let's put them all on the list. No one has the right or the authority to check them. So what they can look forward to is, yes, it will pass in its current form. Yes, the governor will absolutely sign it. And yes, I'm taking your ass back to court like we did the first time. I've got Marylanders lined up who are willing to put their name on the line, and we will fight you tooth and nail. You will not deprive us of our constitutional rights. Now, it costs a bunch of money to do that, right? And this iteration of the Maryland GOP, I don't know where they stand on it, what their plan is, but there are people who belong to sportsmen's clubs. There are people who are instructors, trainers, regular citizens, like your husband, who would happily fight tooth and nail to defend our rights. Now, they know how expensive it is, and they don't have to pay for it. So we're paying for our own attorneys and the attorneys that we have to sue. And that's the rub on it. But to defend our right to do what we need to do, it's worth every penny. This is what happens when you have one party rule. They don't have any checks. They don't have any balances. And because this is an election year, we're seeing the most outrageous, the most crazy liberal stuff coming out of this very short session, because Maryland is only in session from January to April. They're trying to cram as much weirdo, fuzzy bull stuff down our throat, because they'll say, well, you got the rest of the year to try to work it out. It'll be fine. People will calm down.
But
are we going to
this? But so what does this mean for the everyday citizen? I mean, I understand we're going to push back, fight back, but once this passed, does this make it illegal for us to?
No. Well, there's typically a grandfather clause. If you already have them, no, you're not going to be mandated. I don't give a damn if they did mandate it. Nobody's going to tell me that I know them do it. But you're going to be grandfathered in. So basically, future sales transfer will not be allowed in Maryland. Again, it's going to affect business as well. Because guess what? Shooting and those sports like that, boating, things like that, they are pretty expensive sports. So the people who are in those activities, they spend the money because this is their hobby, their lifestyle, part of their business, things like that. I do want to shout out, I want to encourage two organizations in Maryland. If you are a sportsman, whether it's shooting, things like that, two organizations, Maryland Shall Issue and 2A Maryland. Please look them up, support one or both, sign your name up to testify. Maybe you can help pass out some information about legislation and things. They need the help. 2A Maryland and Maryland Shall Issue. Look them up and please, again, help any way you can.
Folks, we got a midterm coming up. And don't think this is just going to be subject to just Maryland. If Democrats get in both houses, if something like that happens, if they start to win more and more governorships across the country, this could easily happen nationwide.
Yeah, of course. Listen, if they can make it happen in any blue state, all blue states are going to do it. This is how they work. This is how they operate. The only thing that has been saving us legitimately is that there are some Democrats who are gun owners, who are sports, who do shooting and skeet shooting and all of these things. And when they see an overreach, they'll say, yes, I'm a Democrat, card carrying blue person, dyed in the wool and all of that. But this is too much. This is too much. So I think what's going to happen, and this is just me, being very optimistic. What's going to happen is the Moore administration is going to continue to do what it's been doing and overreach. And I think, as Tyrone said, it'll get to the point where people break. It's the same thing that happened with Martin O'Malley. This is why we never got Michael, what's his face, as governor the first time that Larry Hogan beat.
I think you're talking about
our current attorney general. No, Michael Stills was and still is a Republican. You wouldn't know.
Oh, you talking about
Brown.
Brown, Michael Brown.
Anthony Brown.
Anthony Brown. So Anthony Brown, you know, a black Democrat, lost to Larry Hogan. Do you know why he lost to Larry Hogan? The damn rain tax. When you tell people you're going to tax the rain and look them straight in the face and say it, then go on all the Sunday morning talkies and say, yes, we're going to tax the rain. That was something that I could push with not only Republicans, but Democrats and independents. It was clearly an overreach, and it cost them the governorship. Right. Then something horrible happened. They gutted the governor's position, and now all of the power lies in the legislature. It really and truly does. So we have an uphill battle, but Marylanders will fight if they do go far enough. And I think this thing is the
we always talk about, again, the importance of local issues, state issues. This is one, not just for Maryland, but wherever you live, get informed, if you will, about your local and your state laws. Look at your state legislature, the roster, every day going session, all the bills that come. And then people wonder, well, where does this come from? You know, I didn't know this. Or how did, you know, you go to the store and suddenly, I don't know, whatever, a bag of chips has like a 50-cent tax instead of like, wait a minute, it was just 2 cents last, you know, things like this. These things creep. This is what they call incremental creep or mission creep, so to speak. Get involved, not just on this issue, but certainly on this, because this is a constitutional one.
Yeah, this is essentially, they are banning guns. I mean,
they're trying to. That's what they want.
They tried to ban them.
They tried to ban them. SB 001.
So they've tried many ways to get their way, and it again, Maryland is such a blue state. It's hard to get people to rally because most people aren't political.
Right.
You know, they just live their happy life. But when you show them definitively, especially in their own words, this is what they want to do, and it's plain, this is a constitutional overreach, people will rally.
Right.
The onus is on people who are political to get out and say, look here, this is too much. And we need you to stand up for everybody's constitutional rights, because here's the thing about gun ownership. This is not one of the things that you want to need to have, but you don't have.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's always the big ass people, the big ass bitch men. Westmore got a big ass, and Jeff Wallstreich is taking it in the ass. It's always them that's doing something, you know, to upturn the Constitution, people like that. And then they'll claim that they looking out. It's always the big ass bitch men.
It's always the people who have the least skin in the game. You know, if you
got ass in the game,
you take these two gentlemen and you remove their right to carry or to protect and defend their homes, and you drop them in, let's say, Baltimore City, and say, go ahead and live your life. So when they're raped, robbed, maimed, stolen from, it will change the way their perspective. The people on the lower rungs are the people that catch all the hell.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, these people don't come to Baltimore. They don't come to Baltimore City. That's the thing. And, you know, I was talking to Shelly about this earlier. I mean, the people who when you go by zip code in Baltimore City, most of the people don't vote. They don't vote, you know, and so you have this bourgeoisie, you know, upper echelon people in the Democrat Party that are voting for the majorities, particularly black folks, are voting for the majority of black people, and they don't have to deal with issues that the people like us deal with. All right, they're in their gated homes, their gated communities. They have law enforcement, sometimes security officers protecting them. So then they go and vote for these policies that really they impact the lower level people. And that takes us to New York City. Folks, New York City is in real trouble. Before we get here, we have some super chatters.
Yes, we do. Who do we have now? I think I see Kung Fu CJ up there for $2. Thank you, Kung Fu. Oh, cuss them out, Shelly E. I can't stand them bitch men. Oh my God.
You cannot.
Susan Romero, thank you, Susan, for your $10 super chat. Not sure where the kids on the corner get theirs. I guess I'll find out. Exactly.
That part.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you all for your super chats. They go a long way in keeping us online. Please continue. They're really helpful. Thank you for your support. Want to get through this stuff. So we're moving to New York City now, folks. So this Mamdani, I mean, he is actually putting forward a tax plan based on race. He wants to tax white people more than he taxes black people. Take a look here. This is clip 2.
Wow.
Inequities in this city, the racial inequities are stark. We are talking about findings that have shown that the wealth of a median white household in the city is more than $200,000, while that of a black household is less than $20,000. This is not an indictment of any one New Yorker. It is an indictment, however, of policies and politics that have persisted for far too long. Our commitment now is to act upon these findings, to do so in concert with New Yorkers' comments, as we've now opened a public comment period for the next 30 days to ensure that we have a city where we are reckoning with the long history of racism here and starting to act upon a framework that puts equity right at the center of it.
What an ass.
Wow. Yeah.
That guy's an asshat.
So what I don't understand, he keeps talking about this idea of equity, and he says in the policy, shift the property tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Now, I do not recall any past administrations in New York City making policy based on race, like actually saying we want this, that we're going to tax white people less and tax black people more. But he's actually doing this. He's actually putting this in words that he's doing this. How can this fly, Nicole?
It's not. He's going to have significant and profound trouble with the Department of Justice. It's what he campaigned on.
Yeah, he did.
And since his poll numbers were sliding, he had to do something. And this is something that he's choosing to do. But when I tell you he's going to have problems with the DOJ, he's going to have a ton of problems with the DOJ. And him coming to the White House and crying on Trump's shoulder is not going to solve it. Those civil rights laws don't only apply to minorities. They apply to everybody. You may not discriminate. You may not. You may not like that wealthy people pay the same tax rate that poorer people do, then change the damn tax rate. But you don't do it based on race. Because what happens when Mamdani is gone and we elect, let's say, Dakota. Dakota's the new guy in New York. And he says, when I was a kid, they made white people pay more. Now we're going to straighten it out. Black people are going to pay more. Brown people are going to pay more. Asian people, Mandamites are going to pay more. Does that not sound obscene to anyone? It is 2026, and I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to speak for Black America, anybody other than me and mine. We need you to stop helping us. We need you to stop helping. We need you to have several seats and just worry about building your economy and educating your children. Things that mayors do. Dude, you are not the president of the United States. You're the mayor. Make sure that people can get to school and around the city. You want to get free bus rides, raise some money for that. That's cool. But what you may not do is set a trend of race being a defining financial feature. It is not the way we do it here. It simply is not.
Right. Now, Shelley, his defense of this is just a description. He said this on Meet the Press. It's just a description of what we see right now. I'm just naming things as they are. He insists it's not driven by race. It's about wealth concentration. So in other words, he wants to tax the people who are making money. And so now, it's not just the white people, it's middle-class Black folks that are being hit hard as well.
So in other words, what Mamdani is saying is what Kathy Hochul said a couple of weeks ago. She's begging for people to come back. He's saying it's not about race, it's about wealth. He wants to be the person that gets to decide, I'm going to redistribute the wealth from you and give it to these Black people. Another part of this, the people that were standing behind him, I'm so tired of help me out, massa. Help me out, massa. Give me massa people. They standing right behind him. I'm sick of it. What Mamdani is doing, basically, he is vocalizing what a lot of these equity policies have tried to do. And he's just saying it out carte blanche. That's what he's saying. To your point, Nicole, you made a point about Please Stop Helping Us. I was going to mention Jason Riley wrote this book years ago. It's called Please Stop Helping Us. Please stop helping us. But you got I need more. Give me some more massa. Give me some more massa people standing behind him and agreeing to this foolishness. Guess what? It's going to come to you too. Like KJ said, if you happen to have whatever the threshold is, then your wealth is going to be taken. You still won't have wealth to get to your family family, your children and grandchildren. You got this Islamist, okay? This Islamist mayor of New York who basically says, I'm going to bring Islam, I'm going to pray, have the rugs, whatever, on your tax dollars, and I'm going to decide to take your property value and whatever other income and assets you have and give them to the people over there. And one last thing, Black people, do you ever notice that none of these damn policies ultimately work for your benefit? I mean, it's a whole day. Talk about grift. Do you ever notice that? When is enough going to be enough? I mean, where are the Harriet Tubmans and Frederick Douglasses we used to have? Where are they? We don't have them anymore. Mamdani and the people like him are doing you no good. They're using your skin color. They're using your poverty, if you will, for their own benefit, okay? Get out of Massa's house. Get off the plantation, please, for the love of God, please.
So I want to really unpack this, because he's out here on this podium and he said he's doing this because of equity. Mm-hmm. And he's saying that in the past, they have racially taxed Black people more than white people, or they have treated these policies have had a negative impact on Black people and a positive impact on white people. But he never provides the data, the evidence, the facts on how did that happen? Well, was it just because they were Black, or was this just an actual outcome of whatever actions that Black people have taken and caused them to be taxed heavily or more than the white people? This is what he's saying. It's racially done, but I've never.
It's a modern day version on the record of DEI, affirmative action, diversity, equity, whatever. That's what it is. He's just actually vocalizing those policies.
But what are the policies?
Well, that's what talking about. There are no policies that he's talking about. What he's talking about is his polling numbers, right? So, as his largesse with Black folk is declining, he better throw him a bone. Right? Because he'd like to stay mayor of New York. He wants to be governor of New York. He'd like to be, a national character of some note. And Kathy Hochul is struggling. Kathy Hochul got on national TV and had to walk back her disdain for people who work hard and make money and beg them to come back to New York so she could tax them to keep their, as she says, robust social programs. So when he talks about lower income people that he defines as Black, that's racist as hell. Let's do that. And higher earner people that he defines as white, also racist as hell. But let's not let a little thing like him being racist be a problem for this conversation. People who are lower income are much bigger consumers, believe it or not, of things. They don't buy big dollar things, but they buy a bunch of little tiny things. So technically, yes, they do spend more in taxes because they consume more tiny projects. Like, for example, New York is famous for their little corner bodegas. You go in there, you buy cigarettes, you buy soda, you buy a lottery ticket. Wealthy people may not do that. Wealthy people may just go straight home and have dinner, already prepared or something from the freezer. It is just a cultural difference. But that's not what he's talking about. What he's talking about is the redistribution of wealth based on skin color. But I'm going to say it's righting a wrong. It's making things equal. It is not making things.
What's the wrong though?
That white people have accumulated so much wealth, and basically on the Black people, Black and brown people. Yes. That's what he's thinking. That's basically the argument of reparations.
But my question is he is saying, or it's his perspective that because these people are white, they have benefited.
That's right. That's what he's saying.
There's no factual evidence.
Doesn't have to be. And even
that's the issue. But that's not right.
No, we know it doesn't have to be, but it works. This is what he's done. And not only that, and let's just say he said, what did he use? 20,000 versus 200,000 or 2 million, whatever.
Yeah, he did at $20,000 versus $200,000.
Now, let's just say somebody has property or whatever their income is $20,000. First of all, you're gonna just give them, let's just say, I don't know, $10,000. What are they gonna do with it? I mean, just give it to them. I mean, from somebody else's assets, whatever. What are they going to do with it? They still need, number one, the skills, the education, the training, the guidance to learn how to invest, make assets and wealth, whatever. And I'm not saying that poor people cannot learn those things, okay? But damn sure the government is not a good teacher and arbiter of doing so. I mean, this just doesn't even make sense all around, but it works. It sounds good. That's why you got the little, again, plantation dwellers behind him. Many of them look black to me. Got behind him, standing there, co-signing this foolishness.
Well, these people, they don't ever think they're going to become in these brackets. Well,
no,
they're black New Yorkers. Some of are furious. So black homeowners in Cambria Heights, Carnegie, Clinton Hill, and Southeast Queens rallied hard against the 9.5% hike threat. So some have been quoted to say, keep your hands off our houses. Mm-hmm. You ran an affordability. Now this. These are lifelong residents who busted their asses to own their homes.
Absolutely.
Okay. They point out the obvious. A blanket property tax spiked hits fixed income seniors. All right. Working moms and multi-generational black families the hardest. But he's continuing to push this. Right. But you know what? I don't think this is not due to him have some type of want to right some wrong or something like that, folks. And this brings us to our next topic. So we want to get into the fraud behind a lot of this stuff. All right. So there was a video done, and I know we're almost out of time, but what's the guy's name? Is it Friedman? We've mentioned him on the show before, showed some of his videos. And he has a video showing inside of AOC's district in New York City, child care services are abusing free child care for migrants and are charging the taxpayer $636 per child per day. So that's $12.4 million over just 5 years for 15 children. But what we want to talk about in this segment is why not really all of a sudden, but why do the Democrats always want to tax the hardworking people to pay for all of these social services? And this is what I'm like, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Well, we're going to tell you why. Take a look. This is clip 6.
First stop is the BWI preschool, where in 2021 they got $12.4 million taxpayer dollars while being licensed to only take care of 15 children. Assuming they're at full capacity every single weekday, that's $636 taxpayer dollars per child per day. Now, that'd be one thing if they were US citizens, but look what happened when I went to ask about that. Welcome back to the Nate Friedman Show.
Hi, how you doing? I'm making a video for Instagram about some recent announcement from Mamdani and AOC. Is it okay if I ask you a few questions about it?
Wait, I'll tell you what to ask.
You're totally fine. Hi, is someone coming?
Hello.
Oh, hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
So what's your question?
My question is, do you check for documentation?
We do our registration according to DOE requirement.
And does DOE require green card or citizenship or anything like that?
For school, they don't.
For school, they don't?
No.
So if somebody is applying, both you have documented and undocumented, is any priority given to the documented person or no? Not at all?
No.
Got it, understood. And have you seen a lot more traffic in the last couple of years? 3-4 years? Has there been an increase in the amount of kids being enrolled? No? About the same? Okay.
About the same enrollment. Okay, but then why, when I go on New York City's spending database, do I see that they got $12.4 million just for the last 5 years, but then I see that from 2017 to 2021, they only got $5.5 million. Enrollment stayed the same, but the budget doubled.
For the folks that don't speak English, are there babysitters or teachers that speak Spanish here?
Yes,
Okay.
we do not only Spanish, we have Chinese speaking, we have Bengali speking. We try to, when we lose that, we try to accommodate different needs. Yes.
So if the child only speaks English, how does that work? Are they able to get special attention from a teacher who speaks English to them, or how does it work?
Oh, I mean, they are all 3 and 4 years old. We give same attention to everybody.
Right, same attention. But I'm saying, like, if they only speak English, can they can they understand what's being said if they're speaking Spanish and Bengali? Like, how does it work?
Most of the time they get used to it because even though when they're playing together with their friends, one speaks Spanish, the other one Bengali. I don't know how they understand each other, but kids, wise, because on this age, one child need help. For example, they don't understand what the teacher asks after they draw a picture. So we want to know what he's drawing. And then we ask, if the child cannot explain, we ask some other staff who speak the same language to explain.
I see. Wow. So you have to have, how many different languages do you have on staff?
Is it 4 here? Yeah, Filipino, Chinese, and Bengali. 4.
Filipino, Chinese, Bengali, and Spanish, of course, right?
So not only are taxpayers paying for illegal immigrants' childcare in New York City, but we're paying for them not to assimilate. There's 15 kids in this class with 4 interpreters, so every 4 kids have their own interpreter. The primary window for language acquisition is birth to age 5, so we're just funding their isolation.
Is it free?
So let's stop it right here for a moment.
It's free.
All right. So when I saw this, I'm like, why are these Democrats flooding the system with these illegals and non-English speaking people, flooding our education system with this child care, and they're advocating for taxpayers to pay for this? Why? It's the unions. And they're doing it in California already through the hospice care. But this is the education part. They flood the system with migrant families, all right? Balloon subsidized provider slots, unionize this, okay? So they unionize the program, all right? And then more kids equal more providers needed, okay? And so then this is what it's all, and then they grift off of the top to give back to these unions, because these people are unionized.
Like the SCI
and the unions give to the Democrat Party.
Absolutely, is a huge union. They take in almost any service sector economy. We talked about this a couple weeks ago about the hospice in California, right? Keep in mind, child care, hospice, things like that. People who receive care home, those are all heavily state regulated, and therein lies the money. You can regulate that, and then on the back end you get to determine, if you will, or mandate what has to be this and that. Damn the competition, damn the profit margin. You have to meet all of the bureaucratic the bureaucratic stipulations at every turn, but then you're supplying the money, the taxpayer base. Of course, talk about grift. Give me my money back. Next week, 7 days away from taxes, April 15th, where we, the taxpayer, we have to prove again that we have not had the audacity to keep any of our own hard-earned money, while these jokers, four interpreters?
Yes.
And they don't even have an English-speaking interpreter. I mean, we talked about this years ago. It was like, okay, these Spanish people come here and they don't speak English. We can't even get an English-speaking person that we're paying for Filipino, whoever else you said, Mongolian, Chinese. Damn it, that's the same language. Combine them into one. I mean, this is ridiculous. Grift. This is what people don't know, and or we don't put up more of a stink about it. Freaking, it's flabbergasted.
So they lost me at $636 a day. That's a lot of money, even for a 3 or 4 year old, right? So when you take a look at how much money they're skimming off the top, how much money goes into this center where, you're just sitting at the desk 6, 7, 8 hours, hoping somebody comes by and want to ask you some questions about a YouTube show. Because I've never been to a daycare center that damn quiet, where there are no children ripping and running and carrying on. But to their credit, they went and got the woman who probably has the best English. and she came out and had a conversation. And she said some very valuable things. They're not trying to teach these children to assimilate.
Absolutely.
In fact, they're trying to keep them marginalized by speaking to them in their native tongue. If this was really a $600 per day program, it would be English only. They would have to learn English. They would have to learn our ways, our cultures, kind of like the Chinese do, like the Japanese do. There's something to be said about us subsidizing our own demise. And that is what is happening, not only in New York City, but just about everywhere. Just about everywhere you see these pockets of people who say, no, this is little China, this is as little El Salvador, and it all is big ass America. We've got to get really serious about people either assimilating or sending them back home. Our culture is getting weakened by the day. 3 and 4 year olds should be immersed in English. That way, it's not a problem when they go to school. And then we don't have to subsidize public schools to have all of these people who speak different languages so these children can learn.
Yeah. Folks, this is a major problem. Again, the providers get city and state subsidies, which is our tax dollars. Unions skim off the top. Scale it with migrant demand, and you're talking millions per year in forced dues. This is what happens in California as well. And the Democrats are trying to duplicate this all over the country. They already have. They've duplicated. This is why they're so adamant about getting these government programs. They want these government programs because many of them need union workers, teachers, caregivers in the medical field to work in these places, and the administrative fees add up. That goes back to the unions, and then the unions give donations, big donor donations to the Democrats.
Right.
So it's a circular, it's
very
circular thing.
It really is. This is why, again, like this program, they have vouchers. You can get a voucher. If you get a voucher, you're getting the voucher from the government because the private care maybe costs too much for your budget or whatever the case may be. So here comes the government. Again, Ronald Reagan, I'm the government. I'm here to save you. You should run from those words.
Absolutely.
Giving you the voucher, our taxpayer money. And what about people who don't have children in daycare? Right. We're still paying for it because that's how the voucher is covered from our taxes, our property taxes, things like that. This is a big grift. It's been going on for a long time. It's just coming to light more and so in the last year, thanks to Nick Shirley and
President Trump
and Nate Friedman, things like people like that. But people, this is our taxpayer money. This is why I keep saying the bigger the government, I didn't say it first. Thank you, Dennis Prager. The bigger the government, the smaller the people. And not just in stature, so to speak, but we have less and less effect on our government, the bigger it is. Our government has the audacity to not hear us, to ignore us when we are legally, rightfully taking our place as Americans and saying, oh no, this is too much. No, you can't do this. Well, the bigger they are, the less they hear from us, the smaller our voices. It happens economically, again, as a citizen, and any other way. We need to stop. Again, I'm going to keep saying this because I'm pissed. April 15th, I have to sit there and spend not just the turning in the forms, but the hours that it takes to, to make sure everything is crossed and dotted, that to prove that I'm not keeping more of my own damn money. Yeah. That's what it boils down to.
Well, first of all, I wish all I had to do was fill in the damn form. I have to fill in a check. You know what I mean? So that's a whole horse of a different color. Don't you dare be successful in this life. Don't you dare be.
They don't want you. That's what they want. They don't want success.
They want you on the government.
You got to think. I mean, right now he is penalizing people for their success, but we all are striving to get there. So eventually he's going to come for our money as well.
Let me tell you,
that's why these things don't work.
I need to know the magic number because I'm going to make $5 less than that number. And you hear wealthy people say that, employers say that. If you're going to tax me because I make $100 million, the next year I'm making $99 million, and I'm going to lay off my staff for the rest of the year, and then we'll come back the next year. Yeah. They don't see the downstream of all the things that they're doing at the top of the.
They see it. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. I think it's all about them.
They're trying to continue to stay in power and continue the grift. Yeah. We have some super chatters here.
Okay, who do we have? I think we have Tijuana. Thank you so much.
That is so generous.
Not to be a stranger. You are not a stranger. No, I love and care about you all, ladies. Nicole. Our true patriot, God bless America and all her citizens.
Amen, my friend. Thank you. That is so generous. Thank you so very much. And you should know we pray that you're having a very successful time, but not so much success that you got to write a check on April 15th.
No.
Justin Green Music. Thank you, Justin, for your $2 super chat. Have some seats, Mamdani. Oh,
I know that's right. Man, damn it. Have a seat.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you all out there in Super Chat land. Keep hitting that like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget we have a Discord channel.
Yeah.
We have a website, metroconservativemedia.com, where you can shop all the t-shirts that Nicole told you about and much, much more. Go there now.
Absolutely. And check me out tomorrow night on Christian Conservative. We're talking about all the news and pop culture from a biblical perspective. I'll be on tomorrow night at KJ Christian Conservative, me and Michelle at 9 p.m. Then on Saturday, you can check out at Just the Guys Podcast. That's at Just the Guys Podcast. They give you a male perspective of news and pop culture Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. We still got one more topic for you all tonight, talking about California now. So, oh my gosh, folks, this is crazy. So they're doing the same thing in California. Let's see here. So what's happening in California is, I just lost my notes. Okay. Yes. Fraud, more fraud. So California Governor Gavin Newsom is embroiled in a national fraud scandal. Okay, take a look here, involving a hospice doctor, Dr. Rajiv Bhuva, made over $71 million worth of Medicare claims. This is clip 5.
The state of California says that if a doctor is involved with any more than even just a few hospices, it is a sign of potential fraud. At the heart of the industry are doctors who are trusted to sign off on care. But in records for the active physicians caring for terminal patients, one stands out. A man whose name appeared on claims from 126 hospices and had 60% more in Medicare reimbursements than the next closest doctor in 2024, the last full year of available data. Dr. Rajiv Bhuva. My name is Adam Yamaguchi. I'm a correspondent with CBS News, and we're doing a story about hospice, and we're just trying to understand how often he's here. I didn't see him in a long time. Neither had many of the hospices we visited. We wanted to find Dr. Bhuva to ask how he managed to work for so many different providers. So we followed a trail of hospice offices linked to his name and Medicare claims totaling $71 million in 2024 across the LA basin. We understand that Dr. Rajiv Bhuva is the medical director here. We're just trying to get some information about him. He's not? No. Was he at some point? Yes, he was. But you're telling me he no longer is associated with you guys? No. Was he at some point? On average in California, a hospice doctor cares for about 140 patients in a year. In 2024, claims with Bhuva's name were submitted for nearly 2,800 terminally ill patients.
There's no reason to think that that's legitimate.
Dr. Christina Newport has been in the hospice field for 18 years. There are a range of reasons why one physician might be identified in connection with the care of so many patients, including stolen identity.
If someone is really effectively evaluating the plan of care for every patient that they admit to the hospice, which is their job and their responsibility, they, would have a superhuman schedule to do that.
All right. So why do we care about this, Shelley?
Because it's my money. Give me my money back. Again, I'm going to say it again. I probably have said it 15 times already. Medicare, Medicaid, and if you want to add in Social Security, those are some of the 3 biggest bureaucratic programs that are ripe for fraud. And let me tell you how this really works, okay? Number one, all these offices that have taken on this home care for these hospice patients, right? That's number one. What they do is they will assign doctor, and these people are always not American, okay? They will assign the doctor's name as the overseer, the director, okay? They haven't seen him in months, if not years, okay? Who's taking care of these patients? But they have people to go out. They have nurses to go out to see the patients, right? They have nurses to go out, other staff to go out and see the patients. Again, now terminal, to most people, terminal, you might think, let's say within 3 months. Terminal doesn't always mean within 3 months, okay? Nope. It doesn't. That's just hospice patients. It's a different billing, if you will, different category of billing. So 100 patients in a year.
Right.
All these different facilities have him listed as their medical director. He may have signed off on their, I don't know, their business plan, so to speak, saying that he would be the director, but he's never seen half of those patients.
What he's doing is signing the orders.
That's it.
And this is how he gets paid, because simply being on the board of directors is not enough to get you a check. So generally what happens is if one of our patients goes into hospice or palliative care, right, we get a notification that says, you know, Joe Schmo is critically ill, or the life expectancy less than 36 months, his family has requested, or another provider, a doctor at a ER or something has said that he needs to move into a skilled nursing, a hospice, or palliative care. And we say, oh, okay. So the first thing they do is they start faxing orders, and the orders are the nurses and the occupational therapist and the physical therapist, the radiologist, you know, everybody, you know, pulmonologists got their hands up, you know, and saying, hey, I saw this patient. This is my plan of care. This is what I plan to do. The nurse says, this is the medication that we're giving, and we're going to give it this time. So you get this stack of papers of all of these care providers who are all getting paid to see this patient.
Auto pen.
And the doctor's signature goes on the bottom, and I'm emailing it back to them, or I'm faxing it, e-faxing it back to them. This is how he's able to see 2,800. And I guarantee you his auto pen is getting a workout. I guarantee you the places where he hasn't been in more than a year, there's somebody there that's using Adobe to cut and paste his signature on the bottom of those orders. This is how you become the worst thing in medical billing, which is we call a Medicare outlier. Now, if there had been other people who were as skilled at grifting as he was, they would not be on to him. But what they're saying is most of these doctors are only seeing 140 patients. You're seeing 2,800. So in the Medicare world, they draw a little circle and say, okay, everybody fits in this circle. So this is fine, even though it may not be. But they say, since everybody's doing it, it must be good. But here's this one guy,
outlier,
who's doing so much more than everybody else. What is he doing that's different? And that's what makes them red flag you. And then they start going like the reporter did. They go to these places and say, well, when was the last time you saw him? And when was the last time? But here's the difference. CBS News has no problems with shouting him out, calling his name. What Medicare will do to not be embarrassed is kind of sweep it under the rug. They'll tell him, you need to write a plan of correction. Stop doing this. Stop stealing our money. And it'll go on for years. He'll hire an attorney that will fight it,
coming in,
and he's still getting paid.
He's still got checks coming in. You know why he got checks coming in? Because all those patients that were already processed, right,
already assigned
and already in the system, he's going to still get paid for those, whether he should or should not. But he will.
He will, and he will continue.
It's not just folks. It's not just the doctors. So California has something also called IHSS. So it presents itself as an instrument of compassion, directing billions to caregivers who help with cooking, personal care, laundry, and other daily needs inside, recipients' homes. But a growing number of experts and critics argue that this program is also rife with fraud, losing roughly an estimated $6 billion to $12 billion yearly to scammers. Meantime, the state's powerful home care unions collect more than $149 million in membership dues. This is, again, see, it's the unions funneling money into the political network supporting Newsom and California Democrats. So that's another thing. The medical system has these unions as well.
Absolutely.
And these unions generally donate to Democrats. So they're grifting off the top, these union bosses, and also they're giving to the Democrats so these people can stay quiet about it.
And you said this here, it's already here. That program that California had,
it's been here since '70s.
Oh, it's we have services like that here.
Arnold Schwarzenegger had actually, when he was governor, he saw how it was boondoggling and had tried to make it smaller. He's tried to cancel it out. But once he got out of office, The Democrats kept pushing it on and on, and now it's larger than that.
That's their backdoor way, like you said, the unions and the people, the actual workers, they're not necessarily taking out union dues from their check.
Right.
It's coming in through the vouchers, through the back way. And so
Yeah.
they, like you said, they take. So these programs are all over the country.
Mhm.
They are certainly, maybe in blue states more, but just think about it. Like they talk about all these services that popped up lately in California and other states. Why did they come up? Why did they pop up so suddenly?
Somebody's getting paid.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Well, everybody's getting paid.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, they're not doing this. They don't want big government and all these social programs for the goodness of their hearts, because they see people are in need. They don't. They want this because they are somehow getting paid off the back end. That's what this is about. And so this is why we got to start pushing back against these programs. And then when we say something about it, we're called names.
Yeah, you're
and
not compassionate.
Exactly.
You're right. Yeah, you're not.
But
Republicans
we
are cold-hearted.
Exactly. Yeah. But these programs generally are not helping like they're supposed to be helping.
Well, I'm already cold-hearted because I told y'all I don't want to take care of nobody else's snotty nose rugrat brat. I don't. So that's just that. We have some super chatters here, and I do want my money back. I want you all to get your money back. I'm tired of Americans, regular, everyday Americans, hardworking Americans. I'm tired of us getting the shaft. Yeah. I'm tired of us supporting everybody else's program, politics, if you will, to stay in power, and it never benefits us. They only take more and more. I don't have any more milk to give.
No. My titties are perky but dry.
Mine are just big.
We almost made it the whole show. We got real.
I mean, they look like they got a lot of milk in them, but they don't. That's just, family trait. They're just
Lord
big.
have mercy.
We super chat.
We have some super chatters. We do. Charlene, thank you for your $5 super chat. Hello, ladies. I love your podcast. I thank God for President Trump.
Me
Thank
too,
you,
Charlene.
Thank you
Me
for
too.
stopping by
Thank you
tonight.
so much.
Everyone else out there, go ahead, hit that like, share, and subscribe. Notification bell so you can be notified. And again, get your money back.
Absolutely.
And President Trump said it. He actually said it, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. He said that if they were able to audit all of these government agencies and get our money back, as you have been saying, we'd have a balanced budget. Yeah. He said we'd have a balanced budget. But too many people are being paid. I don't think it'll ever be fixed.
Do you know one of the biggest moments that we had at the last convention? Oh, this is for KJ. Oh, look at jumper. Oh, Tijuana. Oh my goodness.
Thank you, Tijuana.
That is so sweet. Thank you so much. But one of the biggest things that happened at the convention prior to the presidential election that made international news is when the Teamsters president came and spoke.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm talking about Democrat heads were popping all over the place. He had to leave with armed guards.
Wow.
They were that angry at him. And the reason why they were that angry is because they're saying, no, you can't give our money to them. The money that you raise from all of these men who donate to and women who donate to the Teamsters, quote unquote, donate, is mandatory that you pay. But it's supposed to be for Democrat candidates. So what are you talking to the Republicans about? What are you saying to them? That little perky woman with the butch haircut that was the National Association of Educators. What's
Becky Pringle.
Who?
Becky Pringle.
Becky Pringle.
Okay.
Well, no, I don't think that's her.
Talking about the president for the
president for their union.
I can't think of her name.
Becky Pringle.
She's the one that jumps up and down and she gets so excited. But let me tell you what, when she found out that Teamster dude was there, she lost her stuff. Do you hear me? Her head was spinning around like a poltergeist. She was so angry. And they were all so angry because God forbid that any of these union people be free thinking and do what they want as a whole body for the best of them. Because Trump was saying, listen, I don't have anything against the unions. I'm just saying that you guys should be free thinking. Vote for your best interest. The economy is going to be better under me. And they were like, we don't care what the economy looks like. These are our votes. This is our money. And they were literally saying the quiet part out loud. So you're absolutely right about how these unions work.
Yeah,
absolutely right.
Yes, and let me add to that, Nicole. One of the best ways for people, I mean, you can be free and independent thinking, but one of the ways they don't want you to, when you have the money to be free independent.
Exactly.
You don't rely on government, and they don't want that. They don't want that.
Yeah, that's why they're bringing in all these illegals and trying to hook them up on these social programs and in hopes that they're going to vote Democrat. Folks, we got to be smart and call them out. All right, so we want to end on a nice note, a good note, a light note.
Wait, her name is Randy Weingart.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's why I knew it
wasn't Pringle. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Josh said it too, Randy Weingart.
Thank you, Josh.
Josh always figures out who we're talking about.
Yes, he does. We paint him a picture. He's like, I know.
And X-Files
Yes,
too.
Absolutely.
All right, so we want to end on this. What a wonderful story, folks, that we have here. Oh, X-Files says, I need that shirt that comes with Titty. No. Oh my God. Remember that one? I got in trouble for that one, y'all.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Okay. All right. So we got one more.
Not a perky note. I mean, the chat is going off.
I believe X-Files remember
Peter, my first name.
All right. Let's just play this clip. Did I give you guys this clip about the 5-year-old boy?
I don't think so.
Oh man. Okay. I must have forgot to put this one in. Well, that's all right. We'll play this on Friday. All right then. Well, folks, we went along tonight, but hope you all enjoyed it. We enjoyed you all. We are so happy to have some of the people we haven't seen in a while. Tijuana border jumper back.
Brown eyes.
Yes, brown
eyes.
eyes.
Are so amazing. So amazing.
Absolutely. And then oh yeah, I forgot to put that.
We got it. We're gonna do it Friday.
First of all, production has been giving us the business for weeks.
Yeah.
Tonight, Shelly struck a blow for us. Shelly struck a blow against production tonight,
and they didn't like
it. So they've been wilding out all night.
Wow, we're very thankful for production. Very
KJ schmoozing
for everybody.
Yes, because we want the mics to stay on, the lights to stay right. Yeah.
All right, folks. So that does it for us tonight. We will be back on Friday night at 9 p.m. So please don't forget to hit that like button, share this broadcast, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe. We love you guys. We'll see you on Friday. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Good night.